host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.
7 o'clock. I'm going to call the May 17th meeting of the Exeter Zoning Board of Adjustment into order. It doesn't look like we're going to have a big crowd tonight, so that's absolutely fine. But for the folks that are here and for the anyone at home, I am Chair Kevin Baum. With me is Bob Pryor, Vice Chair. At the far left, our Clerk Esther Olson-Murphy, Laura Davies, Rick Thielbar, and Martha Pennell. You'll notice that there's an additional chair with the flowers. That's for our alternate member, Ann Sermon, who former select board member of numerous other boards, passed away on April 21. So to start the meeting, I'd like to make a moment of silence in honor of Ann before we start the proceedings. Thank you. For anyone, Bob mentioned earlier, but anyone who's interested or anyone who's watching at home, there will be a memorial service on June 11th at 2 p.m. at Phillips Church to celebrate Ann. With that, I'm going to move on to our only new business, our only application tonight, which is the application of Patricia Duval for a special exception pursuant to Article 4, Section 4.2, Schedule I, permitted uses, Schedule I, Note 2, and Article 5, Section 5.2, for the construction of an accessory dwelling unit on the property located at 105 Brentwood Road. This is in the R1 low-density residential zoning district. Ms. Duval, if you would come up to the podium, and we received your application, but if you could give us a short presentation of what you're proposing and walk through the criteria, that would be great.
Okay, great, thank you. I was going to say I'm Patricia Duval that resides at 105 Brentwood Road. Here tonight seeking a special exception for a permitted use for an ADU. And the use, again, is permitted special exception. The accessory dwelling unit is a permitted special exception. Yes, it is designed to operate in the health, safety, and welfare and interest of the public. The dwelling unit is, as you said, located within the zone R1, so that is compatible. And again, yes, to be compliant upon completion, lumen seed will be replaced and repaired. There is adequate off-street parking. It is a state road and a state-approved driveway that was just installed last year per the state. There are 4+ parking spaces located off-street. Driveway access remains unchanged with no traffic interference.
And so if I could
Yeah, go ahead.
interrupt you for a second. So that it's 4 off-street parking spaces. Does that include the spaces within the garage, or that's outside the garage as well?
So there'll be 2 parking spaces next to it. There'll be 2 in the garage, and there'll be 2 to the right for the tenant.
Okay.
So plenty of parking. And again, it's zoned R1, and it does not adversely affect abutting or nearby property values. Actually, I think the betterment does not adversely affect any abutters. This installation will both enhance the value and appearance of the neighborhood, I believe. So the special exception will not be contrary to the public interest. The spirit of the ordinance is observed. Substantial justice is done. The values of surrounding properties are not diminished.
Could I ask you about your septic system? I saw on the plan there was an existing septic system.
Yes.
Is it rated for additional bedrooms?
It's a 4-bedroom septic. There's 3 bedrooms in the house. The septic is 6 years new. I have a 20 by 40 leach field. Everything's brand new, 6 years new. And in addition, there'll be a 500-gallon tank placed behind the unit, behind the garage, to assist with that bedroom. There'll only be 1 bedroom. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good. And it's well water or?
Yes, and I had the water tested. The builder suggested I do that, and 10 gallons per minute. He was happy to hear that, so that's not going to be an issue either.
Okay,
Yeah.
sounds good.
Thank you.
How big is the shed that's there now, that's going to be taken out?
Oh, the barn, I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you the size of that. We call it the barn. On the plan, it's listed as a shed. It's pretty close to a 2-car garage size, but it's just not, I can't save it. I was going to turn that into the ADU, but there's no foundation, and I've talked to multiple people about lifting it and saving it, and it's just doesn't have good bones. It's not worth.
Is it shown on the photos that you provided?
That's, the yellow is the barn, that we call the
Okay.
barn, yeah.
That's what,
You can, on the photos, you can see it.
In the rear view, it's like the one to the left?
Correct.
Okay.
So the unit is only going to start 5 feet to the right, so it's in the same space, it'll just be further over, 5 feet to the right.
And the accessory dwelling unit, you said will conform to, there's a limit of 750 square feet?
Correct, and the drawings are in there too.
Okay.
There's a garage level drawing and an upper level drawing.
Right.
And you intend to remain residing in the house? and rent the unit?
Absolutely. That's always been my plan for the house. I've been here 22 years. I have a business in town for 20 years. I love it here. I plan to stay. And as I said, I wanted to turn the barn into a unit. So if I can do that and allow a rental, provide a rental in town, plus help with my finances so I can stay. And worst case scenario, I rent out the house and I move into the ADU. So as long as I'm there, it's always going to be owner occupied. That's my plan, to try and stay.
Okay, you understand that's, I think.
Yes, I know it's part of the rule.
A deed restriction
Yes,
on
it
your
is.
deed or something.
Yeah, so I don't have an issue with that either.
Okay,
Thank you.
just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Don't want people to get into something they aren't interested in staying.
Been thinking about this for a long time.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.
anything else you'd like to present to the board?
Unless you have any questions, something I didn't cover, or,
Okay.
no.
Any more questions from the board?
It's a very straightforward application.
Thank you.
I will,
I'm sorry.
I will open it to the public. Seeing that there's no one in the public, I will close public
Can I
comment.
ask one more question before you close?
Sure.
Laundry facilities, what were you thinking for that?
A stack washer dryer.
So is that like next to the shower in the bathroom? Is that what you're planning?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you.
All good here.
Great.
I'm just going through the A to K here on the accessory dwelling unit. Looks like we've asked everything.
Thank you. With that, we'll close the public hearing and go into deliberation.
Sounds good.
I open to discussion, but I don't know that any is needed. If anyone wants to make a motion, I would welcome it.
I move to approve the request for the, here we go, special exception per Article 4, Section 4.2, Schedule I, to permit the proposed construction of an accessory dwelling unit on the property located at 105 Brentwood Road.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Easy
Thank you.
peasy.
Thank you.
Ooh, a record, 7-11.
It's pretty
Yeah.
close, and
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a great idea, thank you.
Thank you.
So before we go on to next, I feel pretty strongly that I'd like to make a comment on the situation with the bed and breakfast award in the last meeting. There was some teasing back and forth suggesting that I could have a bed and breakfast in my house, and that's absolutely correct. My house would make a great bed and breakfast. The issue is that it would be in my house. And I've looked at what the change has been. And as far as I can see, anybody who has sufficient space on their property can ask for a special exception to install a purpose-built 4-room bed and breakfast as the rules are written now, and there's nothing we could do to stop it. And I don't think the town expects to have a whole bunch of small motels all over the place, and it's just completely irresponsible to separate the bed and breakfast from the home, from the primary residence, because one of the main reasons for that requirement is that people are going to be much more careful about taking care of their house rather than a separate building where they can have people come in, never see them, never talk to them, no way to tell who actually sleeps in that room. It's just wrong.
Can I ask, does anybody aware of what discussion, it got the support of the planning board, I believe.
It got the support of the planning board, I believe it had the support of the select board, and it had the support of the voters. I mean, I understand, and I think your comments and opinion are on the record, but it's not, my feeling is it's just not our purview whether we agree with it or not. It was voted in, it was a zoning change, that's what it is in the books. If you don't agree with it, the recourse is to address it this coming fall as a zoning change.
Okay.
I share some of your concerns. I think the way the ordinance was written and the way most ordinances are written regarding bed and breakfast is to require the property owner's interaction with the guests, and that this proposal has separated that from, has eliminated that necessity. There's no requirement to serve them breakfast. There's no requirement for it to be in the home. There's no, and I have concerns about that, and I keep thinking about the case we heard about the Airbnb on River Street, and their objections to that, and I think they're all valid and should be addressed. And I guess I just wondered how it got past the planning board and the select board.
I
wasn't paying attention, and it happened, and I just wondered if anybody knew.
It began as a citizen's petition.
I understand, but it had their support.
But it was supported.
But it was supported, and it was without, I think it was a failure on the part of the leadership of the town to put that through without, I don't know that there was professional oversight on the language.
I don't know. And so I don't know what that process was. I wasn't part of it. So it may have been vetted. It may not. It was, there was an ongoing appeal at the time. I don't know the status.
Yeah.
I guess, I don't want to squash conversation on this, but I'm a little
We don't have a role.
nervous about talking about, we are talking about a specific application here that is not before us.
Right. No, I just wondered if there was, what the process was.
Well, we're talking about the origination. We're not talking about an application. Our application has been approved and is done. We're talking about the origination of a piece of our code. And we talk frequently about places where we feel the zoning code could be improved, clarified, improved. And I think that's what is warranted here is taking a close look at it, especially in the context of other ordinances from around the state, to see how other municipalities have dealt with.
Yeah.
Because this was not originated by the planning board or by the planning office, it doesn't have the normal checks and balances that we would expect on amendments. And so I think it is worthwhile for us to ask that, and it is on record, and I hope that the planning office and the planning director will read this, that it'd be nice to have somebody take a look at it and see if it does require further modification.
Well, let's do this. I will take this issue to Dave Sharples. I think that's the appropriate path. And I will raise with him how best to address it, and not just this, but other. I mean, we used to have the zoning. What was it?
Oh goodness, there was an Zork.
Zork.
Oh, yes.
We don't have that
Ordinance
anymore.
Review Committee.
And I don't know what our role is in terms of. I mean, it always seems strange to me that. We are the ones that deal with the ordinance.
And planning.
I realize we're in a quasi-judicial role, so we don't necessarily change it, but, we're volunteers, this is a town, it makes sense for us to have input. And so I will talk to Dave Sharples not only about this concern, but I'd like to talk to him more broadly about how do we give our input, and is that something that can be done as part of a zoning board meeting? Or is that something that can be done as a work session, potentially with the planning board? And see, because there's some other issues that have come up again and again. Parking comes to mind that is constantly before us, that has, there are other things that consistently come up. It's come up in the past with, where parking in some respects was moved a lot of discretion to planning board, wetlands, those types of things where planning board, it made more sense. So I'd like to have that larger conversation along with a conversation about the specific.
And we'd like you to do that.
You have our support.
It's appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay,
Onward.
excellent. So I'm sort of shocked, but I guess it is May and we have election of officers. That snuck up on me. I feel like we just did this.
Does get that way, doesn't it?
Wait till you get old.
Yeah.
It's faster.
Yeah.
I think we should reward your leadership on the issue that was just discussed with an additional year as chair.
It'd be a shame to go into that debate without having the honor of being the leader.
I would agree with that.
I would agree with that.
I will say the same thing that I have said every time, which is, my capacity is limited, or availabiliity is limited, I should say. So,
But your intellect is not limited. Your intellect is not limited.
As long as I'm open to another year, as long as there is a commitment from the vice chair, whoever that may be, to step into the role where needed, because it's going to happen.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that we elect Kevin Baum as the chair for an additional year.
I second.
Second, okay. Twinsies over there. Beat me
We
to it.
have a second, third.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, I guess.
You could abstain.
I could abstain.
You're welcome, Kevin.
You're all set.
Change the flag.
You're all set.
All right. How about vice chair? Bob, do you want to continue? Does anyone want to?
I would be more than happy to either continue or to have someone else assume that position. Esther, would you like to become the vice chair?
No, I would love you to continue, honestly.
I think you've had ample opportunity to observe, and that is how one learns, and I would be completely comfortable with your assuming the role of vice chair and taking over for Kevin on those opportunities when he's not here.
I think I would like another year of observing. Just be sure I have it down, if you're so moved.
If you don't want to do it, I would be willing to, but I prefer not to at this moment. I have a more challenging year ahead at work than I have in the past.
I'd be happy to continue in the role if you wish.
Yeah, I'll echo. I mean, Bob, I think you do an excellent job.
Thank you.
Well, you should see what he does when you're not here.
I count on that.
I rule.
Yes, I know.
Yep.
But I echo both, which is that, Esther, I think you would do an excellent job as well. And so when you are ready, and we are grooming you to be ready, by the way, so you've committed for next year.
When I saw this, I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
It's May.
It's been a year and I've done nothing as clerk.
I've done a lot of look. I did that one thing when you couldn't do something, and I got very
right.
confused.
Being clerk was the best. I still don't know what the role is.
It's my favorite position.
So, why don't we take a motion for vice chair and for clerk? We can do that together.
Are you okay being clerk? Okay.
Oh, she's
I will-
willing to accept it, huh?
Yes, she's
I'll stay
accepting the clerkship. So I will move to ask to have Bob Pryor be nominated as the vice chair and Esther Olson Murphy as our clerk for the upcoming year.
And I'll even second that.
Wow, Rick and I.
You don't even have the plaid shirt. All in favor?
Aye.
Well, great. Congratulations, I guess.
The officers remain the same for another year.
You could have had a revolt.
What I was hoping for.
It would have been more fun. All right, why don't we move on to the approval of minutes? We've got two sets.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
may I suggest, until we get another alternate, that all of you let me know if you're not going to be here, because I may be up country or something. And so I will come if you let me know.
Yes.
Are you the only alternate
I'm the
now?
only
Yes,
alternate.
and
Just
that,
lost two alternates.
With Chris and Ann, you're the
Yeah.
only alternate. Wow.
Yes.
We had so many
We
for a
had
while
two
there.
empty, we had two vacant seats anyway, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Before Ann and Chris.
Yeah, we already had.
We already had
vacancies.
two vacancies.
yeah.
Oh, for all, yeah, but we've been very blessed with very active alternates
We have.
We have.
recently, which is, I think,
Yeah.
unusual. And
Yeah. Yeah.
so we appreciate everybody being active alternates, and it's too bad we're,
No, it's been nice. I mean, when I started, I don't think the alternates ever came.
no,
So there
we
was
had to
no
drag them here by the hair.
participation. No. Oh, absolutely, Martha. And I think that falls on probably me the most, so I'll be better about speaking
Yes,
up early. And I think, yeah, if anyone knows of anyone who might be interested.
I'm in conversation with a woman in town who's very interested. She has some other obligations right now, and this is something that I think might fit in perhaps in June or July.
Got it. And I'll give some thought as well.
Someone who doesn't live on Pickpocket Road.
Someone who doesn't want to pick my would be good.
Yes.
Are
A
there
little
people that
variety.
don't?
Going to be very important in
Yes.
the near future.
Oh. I consider myself warned.
It's ominous. Okay. Minutes. Let's start with March 15th. I was not present, so I would welcome any comments that anyone else has about those minutes.
Everybody else is here, so there are 5 of us that can vote on this.
Line 31, was it Doug that was concerned, or was it Dave Sharples who was concerned?
I don't remember specifically, but I think this didn't, the way it is didn't concern me. Do you think it was?
I can't remember, because later on it mentioned somebody else. So,
Oh, okay,
Well, Mr. Sharples is mentioned in 29.
right.
Which minutes are you working on?
March 15.
Where is it mentioned further on, Esther? Do you remember?
No.
And
I
then
don't.
we're on 29 and then
29.
31.
Yeah, if you look on 80.
So Mr. Sharples is mentioned in 83. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
for saying
83.
that.
No, I wasn't there. I'll let you speak.
No, we need help.
Decision created an expectation that was associated with the variance in Mr. Sharple's interpretation. So that's where that comes from, Esther. Yeah.
Or was there concern on the planning side, so Doug said you should probably come in for clarification?
Doug would be the one who makes the decision on whether or not to bring something here.
Maybe that's why it's,
So I think Mr. Eastman's name in 31 is appropriate.
okay.
Contextually, that doesn't mean it's, and we have a tendency to trust,
Well, you have to trust her, because she's so good.
I had nothing.
Okay. If no one else has any comments or changes, then I'd ask for a motion to approve the March 15th minutes.
I so move.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
Moving on to the April 19th minutes.
Somewhat longer.
They were long.
Really?
As was the meeting. It was a long one.
Adjourned at 11.
And I'm actually going to ask Martha for you to vote on these as well. I can comment, but I was not present for the last, so I'll abstain from voting and then let everyone else vote on these minutes.
Aye.
I'm afraid I must confess that I did not have time to read them.
So, I'm the bad reader. If we look on line
I didn't read it.
133,
Yeah.
I think there's an E missing on slop.
That's a typo.
Yeah.
And a typo on 74. I have to admit, I haven't gone through these.
Rick, is it slope? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the other, Martha? What was the other?
74, I have two L's in my name.
No.
They didn't charge you extra for that, though.
One's name.
What I normally say is get the L out of there and you'll be okay.
Thanks.
I'm otherwise happy.
Yeah, I also did not have an opportunity to read them carefully, but my quick glance was okay. Do you want to postpone voting on these because there's a couple of probably ones that we should?
As I have a clarification on line 250, the sentence begins, or the paragraph begins with "we," and that is, it's unclear who "we" is in that sentence. I'm assuming it carries forward that would be Justin Passay, but I don't like the ambiguity of simply having "we" in there without a quotation. The applicant came to this board in July 22. So my suggestion, Joanna, since I know you're listening, would be that the "we" on line 250 becomes the applicant.
Do you feel that would suffice throughout the rest of the paragraph? Because we shows up.
We shows up,
Does.
yeah, it does, and I'm content that the paragraph begins that way, it's clearer. Thank you. And there's that magic language, 269 to 73. Pretty open, isn't it? All this for one room.
Okay. Sure.
Is the attorney's name actually Gamester, Ganester?
Yes.
On line 302, the property is very insulated, isolated, I think.
Good catch.
I think they meant
I think they've been insulated.
Yeah.
Because of trees
From the-
surround and everything.
From the abutters.
They may have said insulated. I wouldn't be surprised.
Is indiscernible a word? I like isolated better, but I'm not going to make an issue.
But I think we can ask, I guess, Joanna, to
Again, insulated is ambiguous.
check it, but if that's the language they used,
Indiscernible is an exaggeration, but it is a word.
it should reflect what was presented. So
Yes.
if that was what was presented.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I'm reading through the last one and it looks fine.
So,
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 19th, 2022 meeting with the amendments already articulated.
I second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, minutes are approved. Thank you.
Wow.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Baum.
Meeting is adjourned.
Look forward to another year of your leadership.
So that after I use the hammer too, so.
That's right.
Thank you for tuning in to Exeter TV. Exeter TV is the town's public and government access channels, available on Comcast channels 98 and 22. Channel 98 is your channel. If you have an idea for a program, want to host your own talk show, or submit a film, we're here to get your content on television. On Channel 22, we bring you live and replay coverage of government meetings and other town updates. A third channel, Blue Hawk Media, is operated by SAU 16 and can be found on Channel 13, with all your school sports, events, and meetings. You can watch Exeter TV online at exeternh.tv, Apple TV, and on Roku. Find us on social media for extra content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell to get notified about live streams and new content. Tune in to our platforms every other Friday to watch the Exeter Biweekly Report, with recaps of recent events, updates from town departments, and messages from nonprofits in your area. If you head to our website, exeternh.tv, we invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive monthly updates about new content, upcoming meetings, and more. We'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch Exeter TV and hope that you tune in to our other content as well.